everyone. I don't know that I'll make a habit of drawing on camera, but I wanted to introduce you to some things that I have been sent by Royal Talens Australia. And to start with, I'm going to use some Pigma Micron pens, 05. And I've actually been drawing in my sketchbook, so I thought you might like to come along with me while I do this little sketch. And it's quite rough, but it's just for a bit of fun. And my granddaughter has been going to gymnastics classes, and she likes to jump about and so on, as most kids do, obviously. But her childhood nickname is Piglet. So since she was a very small baby, her mother and father used to joke that she was like a little piglet because she liked her food. And I've been wanting to practice drawing whimsical little characters and so on, thinking about children's, picture book sort of characters and so on. So I've just been practicing, and they're not, anything out of this world, but I'm having fun. So you've got to start somewhere when you're learning. And so here I am. So what I've been trying to practice is my natural tendency when I draw things is to want to make everything, as perfect as possible, a bit like a, digital enhanced drawing, but draw by hand. And so I'm forcing myself to just do some purposely wonky lines, because I want that sort of character about the drawing. I don't want it to be too perfect. And so I'm trying to remember to force myself to do some purposely sketchy, wonky lines, because that's just a sort of look that I've been exploring, I guess, in my sketchbook. And sketchbooks can be all sorts of things to all sorts of people. So some people like to have a very carefully curated sketchbook of drawings. They might be keeping a record of something, and they're keeping a very carefully curated collection of pictures, for example. Whereas other people like to use their sketchbooks as a place to work through problems, practice drawing, sketching, nut out those rough ideas and so on. And there's no right way or wrong way, of course. It's like everything. We are free to do how we, see fit in our sketchbooks or our colouring books or whatever it might be. So that is what I am doing at this point in time. So I thought I'd bring you along with me, because I wanted to show you the Pantone markers. And Royal Talens Australia have very kindly sent me all different things to try, and one of them was Pantone markers. I sort of want to imply that the ball's moving, so I wanted to have a go with the markers in my sketchbook, and I'll show you what I'm going to do. So just bear with me a moment. So Royal Talens Australia sent me some Pantone markers to try out, and I thought I'd share them with you. They come in this really lovely box, very sturdy, and I've got yellow, orange, red, pink, violet, brown, blue, green and black. It's not the correct names, of course, but so that's the colours that come in this set of 9. And I'm going to show you what I've been playing around with these markers, because they're really very nice markers. So to start with, I'll do a swatch and I'll show you what I've been doing, and then I will put some colour onto this little drawing here. So the colours are very vibrant. They come with a brush tip and a chisel tip. So there's a chisel. It's got this little nubby bit on the chisel end and a brush tip. So I like the brush tip, although I will work with the chisel tip too. So I'm going to do a solid colour, and I'm going to do a sample of the chisel tip, and then I'm going to do a sample of what they look like diluted. So let's move that out of the way for now. So orange, and you can see just how lovely and vibrant these colours are. And I'll tell you a little bit about the markers shortly. I'll just get them out of the box now and make it a little bit easier. So we have red, chisel, and sorry about all the tinkling, but I've got a jar of water here, glass jar, so the pink is, I'm not sure what RHOD is shortened version of. I shall have to look that up, but it's a lovely pink. I should have done that exactly like all my other swatches there, but I don't need a swatch to be precise, so it's more about showing you guys what the colours are like and how they wash out. This is important, what I wanted to show you more than anything. So you have a few choices of how you can work with these really lovely markers. You can choose to work in a, very strong, vibrant way, or being water-based, you can water them down, dilute them, and then you can do some colour mixing, or you can dilute them and work in a very sort of pastel manner. So the brown there just has the number on the barrel. This one is processed blue. Some of them have got a name on the barrel but no number. Green, which looks very similar to a Viridian green. They really are beautiful colours. And black. So for colouring in a colouring book, which is, primarily what I do mostly these days, although I am trying to get back into drawing, that could be quite a limited colour palette. And I'm going to have to let that dry, of course, but okay, so I'm just going to dry that off and I will come back to you. Okay, so I've dried that off with a hairdryer. So this is a Talens Art Creation sketchbook, 80 sheets, 13 by 21 centimetres, and it's 140 GSM or 94 pounds acid-free paper. So nice sketchbooks. I've got a couple of these. They've got a nice feel of the cover, and the paper isn't brilliant white. So let me just grab a piece of copy paper. So if I show you the copy paper, it's a off-white cream sort of colour, and that is the paper. Okay, so that's the sketchbook that I've been using, which Royal Talens sent to me as well. So just a regular sketchbook, and you can see that those Pantone markers do go through the paper, bearing in mind it's not a heavyweight sketchbook paper. So if you're working on a heavier weight cardstock or some sort of marker paper or something, they probably would work much more efficiently. But for a sketchbook, that's the sort of bleed through, and I did sort of work quite heavily with that. So I'm going to put some colour on this little character now, my little piglet. And I just thought I would explain the markers a little bit more for you. So hopefully this will focus. So you've got the brush tip and the chisel tip. There's the chisel tip and the brush tip. It's quite a soft brush tip. There is the website for Royal Talens on there, and they are made in Germany. And the markers are water-based markers based on high quality pigments that offer a higher light fastness than dye-based markers. The colours of the markers are perfectly simulated to the Pantone colours. Use with Talens Pantone paper for optimal results. Store horizontally. So obviously if you have the correct paper, you're going to get a much more vibrant and better result. But I'm quite happy with what they are looking like here in the sketchbook. That's a really nice start. But I've got this little piglet here, and I don't think that this pink is not really going to cut it for a pig. So I'm actually going to have a go at maybe putting some watery watercolour like effects on here. So I'm just going to get a bigger brush. So I think it's going to need to be quite watered down. And we can get a much more subtle sort of result by watering the marker down, by applying it to a plate or something non-porous. So I've got this old ceramic plate here that you've seen me use plenty of times. Just something that is going to be non-porous, and then you can apply it to the paper like a watercolour. So I like the versatility, you know, so that you can get some different options going. You can also do some colour mixing. So let's get a little bit more of the violet and a little bit more of the pink. And possibly a bit more of the orange. And first I'm going to put some clean water on to dampen the paper. Now bear in mind, if I had watercolour paper, I would get a very different result than what I'm going to get here. But I just wanted you to see, you know, what sort of fun you can have experimenting with things and using them in non-traditional ways. You can get some really different results, and then you can mix colours together. And you can be as vibrant or as subtle as you want with them. Using the water. And then I'm just going to do these little trotters in black. And I've gone over the line there into damp paper, and we can see that it's bleeding into that damp paper, so that's something that's worth noting. So talking to my my subscribers who are colouring book people, you would want to think about having a little play maybe on something like a sketchbook here before you commit to your, you know, favourite colouring book. So a sketchbook is a really good tool to have for doing your tests in, but also choosing a page at the back of the book that you can experiment on and see how that particular paper reacts. Okay, so I'm just going to dry that off. So as with a lot of other water-based mediums, you've got the option of having a play with the water, and then by diluting things with water, you've got the opportunity to make lots of different colours. So we'll just see whether that will actually blend on the paper, and not really. Okay, so I just wanted to give you an idea of some different ways that you can work with it. So if you want to do any mixing and blending and washy sort of colours, then you need to dilute it on a non-porous surface and then transfer it over. So I'm going to now, maybe we might do the ball in green and yellow. So we're going to try and get, quite a few different colours if we can, show what the different looks might be. And bearing in mind that this is, of course, not watercolour paper. So I'm thinking about how gymnasts have all those lovely colours in their costumes and their equipment and so on. And we might do her bow in orange and yellow. So I can also work with the marker, and it will blend into or bleed into any wet areas as well. So we might do a mix of solid colours and a mix of diluted colours. And we can come back and we can do, little details with the markers. We can mix things up a little bit. Remember, a sketchbook is whatever you want it to be. So if you want to share it with other people, you can. If you want it to just be something for yourself that you do tests in and you experiment in, you don't want to show anybody else, you don't have to. I'm thinking we might do some green stripes on her hula hoop here. And I might do a little bit of red. A bit of red in here. Not being overly careful. So I might just dry that off again. And now I might just do a bit of a background, and then that's how I'm going to leave this. So I thought for the background, I'd like to maybe do some more blue. And I might also put some other colour into it as well, like a bit more purple. And possibly some pink. Let's see how that goes. So I'm just going to wet the paper. Again, you know, this is not going to cope very well with the copious amounts of water that I'm putting on it, but it doesn't have to. This is just testing. You know, this is not meant to be a art gallery worthy image. It's going to be just a bit of fun to test the materials out, to see what they can do. And I just wanted to show you that you have lots of options when it comes to water-based mediums as to how you can actually use them. So, you know, obviously when you first get markers, you want to try them as a marker, because that's how, you know, many people will be wanting to use them. And you know, so that's why they're buying them, that's how they're going to use them. But inevitably, when I get anything that is water-based medium, I have to see whether I can work with them diluted and have options with how I work with them, because that's how I roll. So a little bit of marker goes a long way. These markers are refillable. You can buy refills for them. And it's very easy, of course, just to grab a little bit more colour on the plate if you've run out. And you can keep layering the colour too. Once the colours have dried, if you feel like you need to put some extra colour on, you can layer. And we can put clean water into different areas that we've already used it and get some different results. So I might let that go over there a little bit. And I am going to do a bit of touching up. Okay, so we'll let that one dry. So that's dry again, and I'm thinking, well, she's getting a little bit lost now because it's all washy around her. So I can always come back with the marker and work over the top of that. And I can try and I'll show you how it looks if I blend on the page. So because they are Pantone colours, I imagine that these are brilliant for people who work in graphic design or you know, design work and so on, that they can use these colours knowing that they do match the Pantone colours. Let's use a little bit of yellow in here as well. Yeah, so you've got lots of options with them. See if that wants to move at all. You can keep coming back with more colour if you feel like you need it on your washes. So there you go, just in case it is important to anyone, if you're interested in buying a Talens art creation sketchbook and you want to work with water and you were wondering if you could iron your pages, you can use a warm iron. I just used it on a very low heat and I have ironed that flat. There is a little bit of buckling there, which you're going to get in anything that's not watercolour paper because, you know, I've used water on it. So I thought I'd show you how that finished up. So a bit of fun experimenting with lots of washy effects, putting water in, blending, having a go. This is how the markers looked when I went back on the second go and used them as markers directly on the paper. And that's the swatches over there. So I hope you have enjoyed watching that. It's just a quick video to demonstrate the markers to you in a sketchbook, so something other than a colouring book, and for me to just have a little bit of a play with them as well and see what they work like in the sketchbook.